I told you Rodgers was staying. I told you this since the offseason started. Hello folks, today I'll be discussing my NFL playoff predictions for this upcoming season, but before I do that, we have a sponsor for today's video. The sponsor for this video is my good friend Zach's Football Cards. He does a lot of football cards of collecting and selling them, and some of them are autographed cards and some of them aren't, but they're cool to check it out, so they are for sale. So if you want to see his cards, then check out Butternut Squash Cards on Instagram. I'll leave that information in the description box, so if you're interested in more to see football cards from him, go check it out. Alright, so now we move on to finish out the playoff predictions in the NFL. So let's start off by going through the NFC and then we'll go for the AFC. So in the round one, Tampa Bay Buccaneers get a bye as they have the first seed. Then coming to our match for the round one will be the Green Bay Packers taking on the Arizona Cardinals at Lambeau Field in the frozen tundra in January. Then we have the 49ers versus Washington football team at San Francisco. And then we have the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Los Angeles Rams. That will be taking place in Dallas. So for the first match, the Green Bay Packers take on the Cardinals. I see the Packers winning this game in the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field of a score of 35-28. I see my team doing better with that because the Cardinals are an indoor playing football team and Kyler Murray doesn't have playoff experience. Even though Kyler Murray has weapons, it's still, he doesn't have the playoff experience. And once he learns that playoff experience in the freezing cold, then we can talk about the Cardinals. But not this upcoming season because he hasn't made the playoffs yet. And we have Aaron Rodgers. And Rodgers is going to light up in Lambeau Field, especially in round one. Then on to the next match is the Niners taking on the Washington football team. I think the Niners win this game by a score of 21-14 because it's going to be a low score game because both defenses for both sides are pretty good. But the offensive sides, I think the 49ers have that edge, even though Washington football team has good offensive weapons. 49ers have good weapons. They have the quarterback like Jimmy G or Trey Lance. If one of those two steps it up, as I mentioned before in my prediction video, if they can step it up, they're going to do well. And I see the Niners winning this despite Fitzmagic taking on the Niners because I think the Niners are too much for the Washington football team to take on. Then your final match of round one of the NFC is the Dallas Cowboys versus the Los Angeles Rams. I see the Los Angeles Rams upsetting the Dallas Cowboys of a score of 30-21. Dallas Cowboys, you never do good in the playoffs, so that is why I'm taking the Rams. And the Rams are going to be pretty good this year despite losing Cam Akers. They're going to be pretty good. And the Cowboys, they just need that defense to really step it up and Dak get back into his rhythm because Cowboys have done terrible in the playoffs, especially since they went to the Super Bowl was like, what, 30 years ago or something? Like, it's been a long time since the Cowboys were good in the playoffs. So Rams are moving on to the next round. Then coming into the second round of the NFC is Packers versus the 49ers and then the Bucks versus the Rams. So let's go to the Packers game first. So the Packers are having a rematch of the NFC Championship game from 2019. I think the Packers are going to pull this out barely because the Niners defense is going to be good and that run defense for the Packers is not going to be great, and I feel Kyle Shanahan is going to do that so much to make it more interesting against the Packers defense. But I think this score will be 35-32 for the Packers game of winning because it's going to be close and the Niners have the weapons and the defense is just, can the Packers, can they show up is the real question. Can they show up against and have revenge on them after the NFC Championship game? We have to see about that, but I think they're going to win that, so I have them moving on to the NFC Championship game. I know they might lose it, but hey, they got back to the NFC Championship for the third year in a row of my predictions, so wait and see about that. Then in the last match of the second round is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Los Angeles Rams, and this will be taking place at Tampa. I think the Bucks pull this out because even though they both are warm weather teams, I still think the Bucks are going to be winning this because they have that great defense. Even though the Rams have a great defense, but the Rams lost some key guys from that defense, and the Bucks still have the same squad from last year. So I think the Bucks are going to do well against the Rams. The score of 28-20. I think that will be the score for the Bucks. Bucks. And so I have the Bucks going back to the NFC Championship to take on the Green Bay Packers. And so we get into our last round of the NFC. Packers versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is taking place in Tampa, also not in Lambeau Field. So Tom Brady has the home advantage. If we didn't learn our lesson from the last two NFC Championships about how to win against the Niners and the Bucks, then we didn't learn anything. And I think Rodgers learned that of focusing on his mentality to beat Tom Brady. I think the Packers are going to win this because Rodgers is going to learn his lesson and finally win an NFC Championship game for the second time of his career. I think he's going to pull it off because he's ready and he's mentally ready to take on Brady. And I know this doesn't matter, but like if you look at the golf match when he was taking on Brady, he just had that mentality of like really wants to get Tom Brady. He wants to get revenge on him badly and wants to take him out of the league. But the only thing I would worry about Packers is really their defense. Because if you look before halftime of that NFC Championship game last year, we gave up 2 touchdowns. Basically, it was because of Kevin King was the reason why, because he couldn't stop the ball, really. So if the Packers secondary steps it up in there, then they're going to be good. But the Buccaneers are going to be still good. It's just Tom Brady, can he keep doing it again? Can he keep going with this team? Can he keep his Super Bowl run going? I don't think he's going to because he hasn't won a Super Bowl 2 years in a row. And I think this is the year he doesn't do it. He's not going to win the Super Bowl. So I see this being a very close game. And I see the Packers take it here barely with a score of 38-35. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. Defense, they're going to have some moments, but they're going to give up a lot of points at least for both teams. So the Green Bay Packers are going to the Super Bowl. Yay. Finally got past the NFC Championship. Now can we win the Super Bowl, please? All right, let's go to the AFC side. So starting round 1, we have the Kansas City Chiefs taking a bye because they got the first seed. Then we have the Cleveland Browns taking on the Baltimore Ravens in Cleveland. Then we have the Buffalo Bills taking on the Los Angeles Chargers in Buffalo. Then the Tennessee Titans taking on the Miami Dolphins in Tennessee. So in the first match, it's the Browns versus the Ravens. I think the Browns are going to beat the Ravens despite Lamar beating the Browns in his career every time. I think the Browns finally are going to stop him, and the Browns are very loaded on both sides of the ball. The offensive side, they got a bunch of weapons. Chubb, Jarvis, Odell, if he's healthy, Baker, Austin Hooper. Offensive line, Kareem Hunt. That's the offensive side. Then the defensive side, you got a great secondary. You got a great defensive line with Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, the rookie coming in, great safeties from the Rams. So this team's loaded. The only thing I don't like about the Ravens is Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. He's not done well in the playoffs despite that Tennessee game in the playoffs last year. He's not done well of going far with his team, and he needs to throw the ball more. We have talked about this. He needs to throw to his weapons instead of running all day to go to use the bathroom. We are not using the bathroom, Lamar Jackson. We are throwing to our weapons. You can run sometimes, you have to throw more. You can't run all day. That's not going to help you win a Super Bowl. So Browns are going to take it here with 27-21. I see this being a Browns win. The next match is the Buffalo Bills taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. I see the Los Angeles Chargers upsetting the Buffalo Bills because A, they have a better defense than the Bills, and second, the Chargers have a better offense than the Buffalo Bills do despite Josh Allen being the better quarterback than Justin Herbert. I think the Chargers are going to pull it off here with a high score game. I think it's going to be with 32-27. I think it's going to be because both sides have great offense. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley for the Bills. Then you have Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, and Justin Herbert. So the only thing that troubles with me for the Bills is their defense. Can that defense step it up for them and help them out, please? Because they almost lost in the first round to the Indianapolis Colts last year to Philip Rivers. You almost lost that game. You barely snuck away with that, and then you got destroyed by the Chiefs in the next round. So I think the Chargers are going to win it here and move on to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Then in our final match we have is the Tennessee Titans taking on the Miami Dolphins. I think this is going to be a close game. The more people will realize this because Dolphins have a great defense. They have great offensive weapons. It's just Tua. If Tua can step it up for them, they're going to be phenomenal. Tennessee Titans, they're very loaded. They got Derrick Henry, King Henry, Julio Jones, one of the best receivers in the NFL. A.J. Brown, great slot receiver for them, and Ryan Tannehill. That is great. The only thing that worries me for the Titans is their secondary. Can their secondary finally step it up, please? Because that secondary has been bad, and it caused them to lose in the playoffs last year to the Baltimore Ravens. Then for the Miami Dolphins side is Tua. Tua, you gotta step it up. You gotta step it up and help your team out. But I don't think Tua is gonna be ready for the playoffs against the Tennessee Titans. And the most interesting thing I like to see out of that game is going to be Derrick Henry taking on the Dolphins defense. Who's going to win that battle? Because I feel like that's going to be the decider of the game, because Titans tried to do that with Henry last year against Baltimore, and Baltimore won that battle. So is Ryan Tannehill going to throw more, or is he going to give it to Henry all day? We have to see about that. But I think Titans are going to pull it out here and move on to face the Cleveland Browns. On to the second round of the AFC side is Cleveland Browns taking on the Tennessee Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. I'll go with the Chargers-Chiefs game first. So I see the Chiefs blowing out the Chargers because the Chiefs are very good and they have Super Bowl experience. They got Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey, Hill. Defense is still solid for them. Chargers, they're a very young team. I think that's going to hurt them because they're so young. Despite being a young team is good, but I don't think they're going to be ready to take on the Chiefs yet. I think they still need more development to take it on the Chiefs. So I think Chiefs are going to blow them out with a score of 38-21. I think this Chiefs offense is going to light it up against that Chargers defense. So I see the Kansas City Chiefs going back to the AFC Championship game. Then our last match of the second round of the AFC is the Cleveland Browns take on the Tennessee Titans in Cleveland. I think the Cleveland is going to pull it out barely because that Titans offense is going to be good, but I think the Browns are going to conquer that Titans defense, which is what I worry about that secondary in Titans team, because that secondary is not that good. But I think the Browns are going to be too much for the Titans to take on, and Browns are going to win with a score of 27-21. They win by 6 points, but I think it's going to be a close game, but I think the Browns are going to have the edge and win it in their hometown. So I see Cleveland Browns moving on to the AFC Championship to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Now we have AFC Conference Championship. Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Cleveland Browns in Kansas City. I think this game's going to be very close because Cleveland, did you learn your lesson from the playoffs last year against the Chiefs? You were very close to beating them, but did you learn your lesson is the question, Cleveland. So I think this game's going to be close. It could be decided by a field goal or it could be decided by a touchdown. I think Cleveland learned their lesson, and I think they're going to finally beat the Chiefs and claim themselves as a new AFC champions, which the score will be 30-24, winning by a touchdown. I think it's going to be Baker Mayfield charging down that field and getting it for the Cleveland Browns. I think the Browns will finally beat the Chiefs and will take the throne of the AFC. So I think the Chiefs, they're still a great team. It's just Cleveland's very good, especially from this past offseason. And the Chiefs, the only thing I worry about is their defense, really, and the offensive line, because the Super Bowl last year with the Chiefs, they were terrible with offensive line. Mahomes had to run all day and got sacked by the Buccaneers defense. And then the defense, they had to be careful because some of their players are getting arrested or not going to play and get suspended. That's kind of a little bit issue on that Chiefs defense. So that defense has got to be ready to take on Cleveland. And I think Cleveland's going to be their number one target to take down for the Chiefs in the whole season. But I think the Browns are going to pull it off and move on to the Super Bowl. So now we have the Super Bowl match. Green Bay Packers taking on the Cleveland Browns in the Los Angeles Rams Stadium. I think this is going to be a close game. It's going to be decided by a touchdown, I think. And it's going to be a high-scoring game, I think, too. So I think the score will be 42-35. Green Bay taking home the crown. We won the Super Bowl. We bring the Lombardi home. So, woohoo. We won the Super Bowl. Yay. In my predictions. Even though it doesn't matter until the season happens. So I hope my predictions come true. Yay. But I think Packers have the offense definitely take on Cleveland, and I think Baker Mayfield is not going to be Super Bowl ready, so I think that's going to be an issue for Cleveland. The biggest question going into that game probably is, can the run defense for the Green Bay Packers stop Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt? Because that's going to be a big issue, and can the Browns defense contain Rodgers and stop Devontae, Robert Tonyan, Aaron Jones, all those other weapons? So it's basically going to be, can either defense from both sides stop their opponent on offense and make them go to field goals or punt? But I think it's going to be a close game for that. And I think the Green Bay Packers taking home the crown of Super Bowl 56. So the Packers bring home the Lombardi for the first time since the last decade. And Packers now have 5 Super Bowls in my prediction. So Packers, you did it. Woohoo. We finally won a Super Bowl. And then we have the offseason, which I'm not going to worry about until the offseason occurs. I'm just going to enjoy the season and hope my team does well and win the Super Bowl. But that's all I got for today's video. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Leave a comment of who you think is going to do well in the season and what did you like and what did you not like about my predictions. I know most of them are going to be Packers aren't winning the Super Bowl. I already know you're going to say that, people. I already know you're going to say that. But my predictions, I think that's going to happen, okay? I think it's going to happen. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Leave a like on this video, please. If you enjoy more content, please hit that subscribe button. If you want more notifications of when my videos are going to come out, hit that notification button, which is going to be below this video. So hit that if you want notification alerts for that video to come out when you're waiting. Packers, you did it. You won the Super Bowl in my predictions. I don't care what happens. We won the Super Bowl. Yay, we already won. Woohoo. Yay. But we'll see what happens in this upcoming season.